Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJN TV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, LFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJ and TV Insiders. It's time for Tuesday Night Live Chat with Brian S. Red and John Young. Yes, my camera is slightly off, so this is me doing the Chinese dub of the show.
I can do your voice if you want to move your mouth.
Yeah, it's not gonna just.
That'd be kind of fun.
Just gonna go and do this.
Well,
and,
he'll be back in a moment. He's
and this. So hey,
Mike's still here.
Mike's still here. That's right. The mic is still here.
That's cool. Mike's working.
And I think there we go. I'm at least closer. Good evening and welcome to our final show tonight on Tuesday night. But this isn't the end of the day. No. This is just the warm up. This has all been just building up until the chill room opens up here in about a half hour, somewhere in that ballpark tonight. The chill room in which you can go to at djntv.com/chill. You type that in, it'll take you right to that Zoom. If you've never been on Zoom before, you'll have to download the app, and you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet, you can do it on your laptop, whatever. That's the place to go and hang out. That room's been open pretty much every night. Some DJs from around the world are getting together to basically just hang and talk shop, talk about anything, but to hang out and be together during this time where it's just kind of depressing to be staring at the four walls all day long, I guess. I take a nap.
We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot in this show, man. So.
That's what I've been hearing. People have they've been talking about, you guys are discussing some of the music, and the two of you both like to talk music anyway, but people were saying that there's like, wow, we got into a different area, a genre that they didn't expect either of you guys to really be into too much, and they're like, these guys actually know what they're talking about, and it's like, yeah.
Well, we all got into it for one reason or another.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was all for for beer money. That's why we did it.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing, and the people in it consistently are amazing people and very knowledgeable. And it's not a cakewalk in that room, and that's the beauty of it. Whatever you have to bring, just adds to it. It's a community. It's not an individual.
Every night is different too, because not everybody comes every night. They'll pop in, and we had Nick Hahn in there a few days ago, and Nick came in and he was kind of like, well, I'm not going to stay long. I'm just going to check it out. He was there all night, and we were talking music, and we were throwing out tracks, and Nick was like, well, I got to write this down. I got to write this. What is that? Ooh, I like that. He was sending me a text message yesterday, told me about the songs that he had downloaded from the discussion we had that he really enjoyed. So
excellent.
Nick is supposed to be this, record pool guy. He knows music. And he was learning new things from all of us in there. So
yeah, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
I can't promise anything, but he'll be getting a text from me shortly. So I'm hoping he'll be available tonight to join us as well.
And come and hang out. Excellent.
Yeah,
so, gentlemen, what I wanted to talk about a little bit before we break for the chill room tonight is dealing with intoxicated guests, because obviously right now we're not into that, but this is actually a time where we're putting some thought into how to handle situations, because I found when in the past when I used to do something and you were doing it week and week and you had your little methods of doing it, that you get into a rut and sometimes you don't handle situations properly. But now that we've got a little break and kind of changing our thought process maybe and developing some new skills as we get into the eventual wedding season and handling intoxicated guests. So kind of sharing some thoughts, some stories and such of instances where you've had that person who's just been way over the top drunk and you had to deal with them.
This is the absolute truth, and all my clients can attest to this. When I meet with a bridegroom, it's one of the questions I ask them. In my years of experience, there's two things that will ruin your wedding: people that drink that shouldn't, and family infighting. So 50% of the negative equation of an unsuccessful night is heavy drinking. I have gone so far as to tell couples when they say, well, my brother's coming and he has a real problem with drinking. And I'm like, maybe you shouldn't invite him. And they look at you like, you're kidding. And I'm like, you're spending $20, $30, $40,000 and it's going to take one person to ruin the night.
Yep.
And I say that to them because even though they're friends that party hard, tend not to be the problems at weddings. It's usually the really drunk person is the problematic drinker. I find that communication with your clients and your venue are the most important aspects. I'm not there to handle anything other than the music and help with the flow. I'm not security. I'm not a police officer. It's in my contract that if one of your guests is causing damage or harm to the DJ or equipment, the DJ will inform you and does have the option to stop playing. And that's a contract amendment that they sign. I haven't used it, nor do I plan to. But I think that letting your bride and groom know, like, hey, your buddy over here looks like he's pretty wasted. I mean, Brian's worked bars and clubs. I was a bartender, DJ in clubs and bars. You know who the problem is early in the night. I'll even go so far as to tell wait staff, because it's their job. They're the ones serving them. I've gone to so many bartenders and said, hey, the guy in glasses with the gray sweatshirt and black hair, he's wasted. Seriously, thanks, man. Yeah, he seemed okay, but thanks for letting me know. That's their job to get him out of the venue, not mine. I don't want it to ruin my relationship or my evening.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's the people that got them that way should be the ones involved in getting them out of that way. But it's a delicate thing, but be upfront with your clients. Let them know from the first time they meet you, your goal is that everyone has a great time. And part of that having a great time sometimes involves alcohol, and sometimes people go over the top and then they get lost in Atlantic City at Expo and they're not sure where they are. Well, I mean, that's different, but I'm saying
Different story.
different. Yeah. Could have been Vegas.
Never happened.
But yeah, I think you have to be upfront with them. And believe it or not, I have a zero alcohol before or during my event policy for me personally, because the last thing you need is to have the DJ have a couple drinks, in my opinion, and then have a problem with somebody who's had drinking, and now you're elevating and escalating the problem. So,
well, not only that, but if law enforcement gets involved,
that was a lot. I got my dry throat.
It's one of those things where it's like, well, who's drinking? It's like, well, the DJ has been drinking and this guy has been drinking too. Yeah. Well, they're both at fault. Well, if you're straight, if you're zero alcohol level in your body, then hey, yeah, this drunk just came up to me and started being an idiot. Then the cops just haul this guy off and you just continue on the evening. So yeah, even if you can handle your alcohol, which a lot of people can't, and that's their argument. Hey, I don't get drunk and stupid. I'm drunk and happy. I understand that, but in a situation where someone else is drunk, it's just like driving a car. There are people out there who can drive drunk, but if they get in an accident and they've been drinking, then the cops are gonna blame them because they've been drinking. It's the same thing with the altercations sometimes. So, but no matter how much preventative maintenance you try to do on something like this, you're still gonna have them. So what you're gonna have to do is learn to handle them gracefully and carefully.
But be firm. I think I had a wedding last July. Guy comes up, he's like, I want to toast. I'm like, hey, let me check with the bride and groom. Right now, there's no time for you to toast. Man, I'm telling you, I'm effing gonna toast. Okay, that's not gonna work with me. So I go over to the bride and groom and I go, hey, this guy in the blue shirt over here is pretty wasted and he wants to toast. How do you, it's my opinion professionally that I should let him know we don't have time and move on.
Oh, yeah.
And the bride looks at me and she goes, that's his husband. Or that's his father. I'm like, excuse me?
Better not be his husband.
Yeah.
It's the groom's dad. Oof. Off his butt wasted. And I'm like, and he looks at me and I go, do you want my professional opinion? He goes, yeah, I really do. I said, there's no good memories that are going to come out of your dad being hammered on the microphone. It'll look cute, but everyone is going to leave here thinking that's embarrassing. And he just kind of shook his head and he's like, yeah, do whatever you think is best. I'm like, okay, he doesn't toast. Later, he did make a threat towards me, And I just let the staff know. I said, he says something else and I'm shutting down. What? I said, he's being, giving me the like F and play something good or I'll jump over there. And he was a little drunk guy. He wasn't going to cause any problems. But that needs to be addressed because, like Brian said, if the guy drives off property, I hate to be and none of what I say is legally binding, but trust me, where were you? Oh, I was at John Young's house for Brian's wedding. Great. Somebody's getting sued.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that aggravation. That's why a lot of couples take out, liability. At least in California, most of my wedding couples take out a 1-day liability policy.
Yeah, it's becoming a thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you
talk 'em
handling
down.
this? Because you've got some experience with this. You've done bars where you've had the people who come in and get overserved. How are you handling it?
My methodology when it comes to weddings and such, I'm not as proactive on this as Jay is, which that was absolutely great concept. And
Yeah.
I've never done that side of it, something I should have. But when it came back to handling in a bar situation where you had those people and trying to diffuse things with humor and trying to be more of seeing it from their side and sometimes doing some deflecting. Of the, got to play this song and that it can't be played and you can deal with that. But invariably, as much great advice as a person can say with that, it seems to escalate from, half the time you're good and you can deflect when one method works. But the other half the time, it's just going to go from there to 100 and you're going to have the person removed. And there's just no way around that. And it's like, oh man, you could just see it coming. It's like, dude, I don't want you to have to do this. And no matter what you say, you cannot pacify their drunk mind. And
Sometimes it's unfortunate, John. And I wasn't even going to bring this up, but we're talking about this, and I think it's relevant. I grew up around alcoholism and violent people. When I was a little kid, I knew this. I understood this. I knew when to stay away. I knew when to be cautious of these adults who were just, they weren't even responsible for their own actions at some point. And it's a bit like DJing in the regard as you can't tell somebody how to DJ. You just have to learn how to do it over time. And that's how I've unfortunately had to, it's come in handy for my job. I mean, because I know what to say and I can kind of tell where someone's temperament is and where I can push them and where I can't when they've been drinking. And I know when it's, time to get help. Yeah. So you just have to kind of, be smart about it. If it's something that's just out of your wheelhouse, get some help. If there's help to be had, get some help. If you
I think there's a point where you have to, and again, I'm coming from bartending. So, as far back as like 85, 86, I was bartending. So I've dealt with and I could shut off and throw out the biggest guy by being positive, being like, hey, you know what? You've had 3 drinks in 45 minutes. I just got a call. There's some police down the road. I'll tell you what, next time you come in, I'm buying your first beer, but I want you safe. So I'm gonna stop serving you now. 10 out of 10 times, get the handshake. Guys are happy, and I think I have the same mentality at a wedding. I'm just scoping around. I did a few weddings that were less expensive in the early 2000s, late 90s, and there were fights and drunks and people punching people. And I remember when I went and raised my price, suddenly I didn't have any of those problems. But I also wanted to forecast if I would. And when people say what ruins a wedding, people that shouldn't drink and family infighting. I don't care about the food, the flowers, the venue. Those 2 are guaranteed wedding ruiners.
For sure.
So why not ask? And people think I'm being a jerk or whatever for saying maybe you shouldn't invite them. If I was going to spend $40,000 and I could guarantee that Brian showing up at the party was going to ruin the party, should I invite Brian? Well, I mean, I would, but it to me, it's the same logic.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think if you watch, how many of us are near the bar? A lot of my venues, the bar's right across from wherever I am. So you can watch people drinking and, just kind of keep that sixth sense going. Like, ooh, that guy just did 3 shots and a beer and he's kind of stumbling. Maybe just be proactive. Mention it to the staff. It's not your job to throw them out. It's the bartender. It's the waitress. It's the venue. Let them deal with it. But let them know ahead of time so they can before, like Brian says, before it gets to that violent stage, get them early, catch them early enough.
It's just, and this might sound like Captain Obvious stuff, but when you're doing an event, I think it's important early on and this is something that you can learn from theater or even stand-up comedy. Get the audience on your side early on in the event. It helps. Now, yeah, sometimes somebody shows up to the party drunk. I've had that happen. But if the audience is on your side, they're going to look out for you. And they're going to take your side if there's a problem or if they see that you are struggling with something. Typically, they'll take your side. Oh, come on, Bob, leave him alone. Come out. And it's just so, yeah, I mean, doing the preventative maintenance like Jay is suggesting, that is masterclass. I mean, if you can handle that,
Yeah,
then,
for sure.
that's fantastic. But reality is most of the time is just simply going to present itself. And when it's there, what do you do? And
Cattle prod.
This is kind of like, what we're talking. Yeah, cattle prod. But just get, for me, really, get the audience on your side, get everybody on your side.
That's a great point.
And then if there is an issue, then, they got your back. On the other hand, if the audience perceives you as the bad guy or you're not approachable and something happens, they could turn against you and they could stick up for drunk Uncle Bob. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's worked. It's served me well just to have on my side.
What do you
I
guys
totally
thoughts?
get that.
What do you guys thoughts about those situations where somebody has gone onto a microphone because of an intoxicated guest? Is that something you would do or think about?
What was the question?
When there's been a really intoxicated guest in the DJ's face, and the DJ gets on the microphone and starts going on.
Hey, asshole! Yeah.
No, I think and this is where our value is oftentimes misunderstood or misplaced. $1 million wedding, it only takes the DJ 8 seconds to mispronounce the name of the bride and groom and drop an F-bomb, and that night's shot. So I think you owe it to your own level of professionalism that unless it's an emergency and you're asking for, and it's happened to me, you're asking for a doctor, nurse, or medical professional to come to the dance floor if someone's hurt, because it's happened 2 or 3 times to me where people have passed out or fainted and we've needed to get somebody to care for them and I've had the mic. I don't think it's your obligation to yell at people. Maybe in a nightclub if it's funny, but at a wedding, I think your level of professionalism needs to be high enough where that's not an option.
I have snapped at a few people, I'll admit it. But by the time I've done it, I don't even know that I've done it. It's just escalated to the point. And it's always someone younger where I feel like I've got some sort of, at least, citizen authority over them. Some older guy, hey, you need to knock it off. That's too much.
True story, 1998 on a boat cruise dinner. I had a group in the back, probably 30 feet away. I'm giving the safety announcement, hey, the Coast Guard regulation, this and that. And the guy yells something and I ignore it. And then he yells something again. We haven't even left the dock for a 3.5-hour cruise. And as he says it, I come back with, and I go, hey, come on. I have a job to do. I'm not going to come by McDonald's in the morning and tell you how to make my Egg McMuffin. And it's something I'd always wanted to say, but didn't really have the guts to do it.
Heckle, yeah.
God is my witness. 10 seconds later, he comes strolling up wearing a McDonald's jacket. He's a freaking manager at a McDonald's, and they're out for some sort of a celebration, and he is pissed. I can't believe you'd say that. We came out here to celebrate. There's 10 of us. We're spending $800. And I'm just like, that's the beauty of it. I was trying to get, and I'm trying to do like Brian says, trying to get the, no, of course I called you out because later on I want to make note of the fact that we have some management here that are celebrating, like that kind of backpedal. I barely got away with it, but it was the last time I ever used the microphone as a weapon. Cause I'm like, if you're just going to go too far. And I think it's like throwing gasoline on a fire. I really do. Once people get called out, they either laugh it off or they don't. The other thing I want to mention is every one of my clients understands this. You are hiring me to perform a service. You are not renting my equipment. I have the ultimate final say on things like microphones. And the other thing is, I promise all of my brides and grooms, there will be no surprises the night of your wedding. No one will speak that you don't okay. No one will get a last minute toast. And I'm sure a lot of DJs are going to flame this, but I've never seen a last minute unscheduled toaster, karaoke performer, or anything else speak at a wedding and have it turn out good. Nor do I tell them that I will do open toasts. because open toast to me are just inviting problems, because you're going to get the random drunk boyfriend of the girl you don't even remember inviting, and now he feels obligated to speak. So I kind of really push them in the direction of best man, maid of honor, maybe parents, somebody else, a brother, sister. Now with everything going on, my weddings will be exclusive to a mic stand. So I'll be able to stand there and guard it and say, oh, okay, Susan's coming up next. Julie, and if somebody goes, oh, I want to say something, I'm really sorry, not right now, maybe later, we don't have time. That's my way of saying it's not going to happen.
You know, I will say this though, and I'll add this because I know we're short time tonight, but I do get drunk people a lot, and it's usually young girls or small women, and it's
Karen.
and it's not a threatening thing. It's just kind of like, hey, can you play Motown Philly by Boys and Men? It's my favorite song. Sure, here you go. I don't. That doesn't bother me. It's not a threat to the party. It's not a threat to me. It's not a threat to the. It's good for the dance floor. She's going to go out and dance. That's not a problem. It's the aggressive drunk I worry about. I haven't had that in a long time, but I don't care about drunk Karen. Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
I get the drunk girls. You can even have fun with it. You can say to the bride and groom, because the groom gets beat up at the weddings. Like he's the one that we all joke about. So at the meetings, I like to look at the bride and be like, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play anything off, that's not a radio edit. So if the FCC allows it, language on the radio, that's what I'll play at your wedding. So you're not going to hear hard words. I said, and I'll look at the groom and be like, you're going to find this hard to believe, but almost 100% of weddings, it's the drunk bridesmaid. And I look at the bride and she starts laughing, who comes up with do you have Eazy-E? How about NWA? What do you mean? Why is this unedited? I want, no. The unedited. And it's like, come on. But that's the fun ones you can play with, because you can convince them you already played it.
Right.
Get them in like a spinning top with that.
It's coming.
I just missed it. I'm like, remember when you just turned around? I played it then. But we're going to go soon. I'm like, give me 5 minutes. Just please, 5 minutes.
Have you seen Deb in the chat room?
Yes.
Yeah, Deb lives near me, and I've met her one time, and it was when I was doing a bar. Kind of the best way I could describe this bar was on the threshold of City and Hazard County.
Oh, nice.
It was right there. Let's just call it the Boar's Nest. I think it was called the Cellar. I don't know.
Same thing.
So Deb was there, and she's really cool, by the way. But she knew I was playing down there one night, and it was like a month and a half ago. I don't know. It wasn't that long ago, or maybe beginning of February. At any rate, there were a lot of women in there who were probably in their early 50s. And it was kind of like that thing where they could have gotten pulled over for doing like 22 and a 55,
Yeah.
Because they were really trying to act young, and they were very drunk, and they were trying to request the most juvenile things in the world.
Oh, yeah.
To make themselves feel like they were younger.
They were young again. I know that. I've done that. We've all done that.
And they wanted, and it was just ridiculous, the stuff they're asking for. It's like, are you kidding me? You should be asking for Peter Frampton, Grandma. Knock it off.
Yeah.
But I would just indulge them, and it was fun, and I didn't care. It didn't matter. It was a bar. But
how many times have you had this?
We have a bar on every corner. You both have been here. You can attest.
Oh, yeah. No, there's a ton of bars. But I've had the girls so drunk, they request it. You play it. They come up afterwards and go, when are you going to play it?
You were in the bathroom because they just played it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I said, you know what? This ends at 11. Around 11:15, your track. Thank you.
The moral of the story, kids, good luck with your drunks, and just be careful.
Yeah.
But have fun with them if you can.
Leave this to the professionals.
Leave it to the professionals. Oh, funny.
Good times. So I haven't seen rampant issues with it lately at weddings. Have you guys?
No, I haven't. That's why it was the topic I was hemming and hawing. It's like, it has been 3 years, maybe a little longer. Yeah. It just hasn't, and not that there hasn't been intoxicated people to that point, but they just haven't, whether it's been the wedding party or family or something was, in essence, insulating me from those people or what the deal is. I don't know. But
Well, and use what you have. I mean, again, I'm coming from a much different world, like 20 plus years back of doing this for a living, working in around alcohol. So it's different. I think if you've never had the experience, remember there are things that are your friend. Hey, you know what? Got to be careful tonight. I think I just saw the police. Brian's been out to my area. There's a lot of wineries. There's a winery where I work where I've had weddings where people are getting hammered, and I'll go to the bride and groom and say, the only way out is one road. It leads to Rancho Cal. That goes one of two ways. No way out. Like every weekend, the police sit there because they know people. It's wineries. All they're doing is drinking. They're not going there for anything else. And I'll say to the bride and groom, as a PSA, would you like me to announce that the venue can get you an Uber? You can leave your car here, but please be cautious. And when it's a holiday weekend, I insist on saying, ladies and gentlemen, this is a holiday weekend. There will be roadblocks. Every holiday, Saturday night, I drive to one. We're looking out for your best interests. So please drink responsibly or be prepared to leave your car and take an Uber or Lyft. And if you say that, like Brian said, you're their friend now. You're not the enemy.
yeah,
Be on their side.
for sure. For sure. Well, gentlemen, let's wrap up the show. I would just put the chill room link in the comment section there. You guys can grab that and bounce out to the chill room and have some fun this evening out there and kind of share and ask questions or tell stories, whatever works for you. And tomorrow we've got a few more shows coming to you tomorrow night to kind of wrap up. Well, the live shows for the week. We'll have one more on Thursday night, but we'll be back tomorrow night looking at some business things and some photo booth things and a lot of stuff coming up. And
John, are you going to come and join us in the chill room for a little bit?
I've got kids that we're dealing with schoolwork, trying to get them.
It's a no.
It's a no tonight. Yes, that's why.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to be inviting Christian tonight because Christian did a 90-day sobriety thing, and now he's sending me photos of him drinking. So rather apropos, because he's like, yeah, Tuesday's 90 days. I'm like, that's right. You didn't drink anything for 90 days. Why did you do that again? He's like, perseverance and strength. And he bought a 4-pack of some ale the other day. So I'm just going to invite him into the chill room as well.
That'll be fun.
Jay can
see what kind of trouble we can get into.
He'll demonstrate his skills. So thank you guys for being with tonight. And head again out to that djntv.com/chill and have some fun tonight. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.